This past year I've been playing through the Resident Evil games, and they have really opened my eyes on what not only the series is, but what the genre as a whole can offer. I've gone in depth about my thoughts on Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4 now, all documented on my channel, so the next logical step would be to play 5, right? No! That would make too much sense. No. Instead, I'm gonna play the games out of order and try to figure out the story myself like I'm some sort of detective piecing it all together. And for that reason, I'm playing Resident Evil 7 because I bought it, and if the law is to be believed, that means I have to play it. Resident Evil 7 is an extremely significant game, not just in the game's universe, but in the franchise's history. It brought the series back to life after a 5-year break. At the time, it seemed like the Resident Evil franchise was forgetting what it was, an action horror series with item management, tense combat, unsettling environments, and characters who are lovable and memorable. Not for its insane action scenes and characters who are basically superheroes at this point with the insane feats they can pull off. And it seemed like that's what Capcom wanted to focus on for a while, which was, ironically, scary for a lot of fans. So in a way, Resident Evil 7 felt like a revival for the franchise, since what was considered the last good Resident Evil was Resident Evil 4, which had come out back in 2005. 2005. That was 12 years of waiting for a good Resident Evil game. Imagine having to wait for a series to figure itself out year after year, failure after failure, never knowing if it's ever going to go back to the way it was, back on its feet. Oh, hi, Sonic. What are you doing here? Needless to say, the fans were not happy with where the series went. So when Capcom decided to bring the series back, they knew they had to step up and make something really damn good. And so they made something really damn good. I was there for the announcement of Resident Evil 7, and let me tell you, that game announcement was insane. No one knew what this game was until the very end with the title drop because of how different it looked. This doesn't look like the high-octane action with zombies and crazy people and action movie heroes punching boulders and doing roundhouse kicks. This looks like a horror game! Capcom was going back to their roots with this game, and it showed. It looked dark and gritty. And it was doing a first-person perspective, which was a first for the series. This game was going to be a bold new direction for the franchise, and the dev team seemed really proud and excited about the project, which helped in generating hype for a franchise that was in a dire state. With that history in mind, coming into this game was really interesting. It was meant to be kind of a soft reboot for the series. It's a great place for newcomers to jump into the franchise. And so is Resident Evil 2 Remake. And so is Resident Evil 4 Remake, if you want to start there. I mean, you've got options. They really made this franchise easy to jump into nowadays. Whichever one you start with, just know that 7 has barely anything connecting it to the previous games other than the absolute basics, and like one thing at the end. In Resident Evil 7, you play as Ethan Winters, an ordinary guy married to a woman named Mia, who mysteriously disappeared 3 years ago, after going on a business trip for a babysitting job. They must have been paying you some good ass money if you're gonna go on a whole trip to babysit. I mean, whose baby do you need to travel for to babysit? The Queen of England's? Oh, hold on, I'm getting a call. What? The second tower? The Queen's dead? Then, one day, Ethan gets a random email from Mia saying that she lied to him and to not look for her. So Ethan decides to go look for her in Dolby, Louisiana. And after walking up to the most welcoming of houses I've ever seen, Ethan walks in and begins to investigate. And after some snooping around, we find a VHS tape, and on it we see that there was a— Whoa! You back up. Please. Anyway, we see that there was a film crew of 3 who visited the house earlier, and we get some backstory on the owners of this house, the Bakers. Jack the husband, Margaret the wife, and their son, Lucas, seem to have mysteriously gone missing. While exploring, one crew member suddenly disappears and the other 2 must find them. As they look around, they find a hidden passageway which leads to a basement. And obviously, after finding a hidden latch that reveals a hidden door which leads to a hidden basement, they go down in order to find their hidden friend. And then, they fucking die. And then, I guess, someone found the footage and decided to lie it around the house for the next unsuspecting victim to find it and watch for some reason? I have no idea how or why it's here, but hey, whatever. It's scary and horror doesn't make sense sometimes. So Ethan pulls the latch and goes down the basement and we actually find Mia. Yay! But then she tries to kill us. No! After a long and intense fight with Mia, you get a very nice and warm welcome from the father of the Baker family.
Welcome to the family, son.
Oh my God! What a nice guy. Here we formally meet Jack, Margaret, and Lucas. And there's also an old abuelita next to you just sitting there. And they don't mention her. And it weirds me out. And would you look at that? They made us dinner! Wow, Ethan, that was extremely rude. Ethan's got some guts because if I was in that situation, I would eat whatever was offered to me, no problem. Oh, you made that just for me? Oh, well, don't mind if I do. So good. After some fine dining, everyone leaves and you manage to get out of the chair. And then on, the game just opens up. Seriously, you just start right there. And you gotta find a way out of this mess without being caught and killed in your quest to find Mia. And let me just say, the house you're in the whole time, oh, disgusting. The house and surrounding areas you explore in this game are all debilitated and rotting away. Literally rotting away. The wood panels of the house, rotting. The food, rotting. The people, rotting. And what did you know it? The whole theme of this game is rot. Who would have guessed? Now, even though the house is falling apart by the seams, the Baker family are still living here like usual. Or as usual as they can be, I guess. The devs did a fantastic job at not making the house feel like a set, but an actual house that has history and people living inside of it despite the decay. And sometimes it looks so normal that it makes you start to wonder, who were the Bakers before the events of the game started? They couldn't have always been this way, right? These people are, yes, monsters, but they do still live here, and it really does feel that way. Sometimes it feels like you broke into their home, and now you're paying the consequences, and I love that feeling. And at the same time, it's not a normal house at all. Resident Evil 7 has the classic weird-ass puzzles in places where they shouldn't be, but we all ignore them because they're fun and give a nice change of pace from the running and shooting. And screaming. Oh my god. What do you want? What do I do? What do I do? Yes, the gameplay is solid and the shooting feels good, but that's how all these games are, and I feel like I'd just be repeating myself if I talked about that again. What I will say about the weapons is that they don't really feel as necessary as before in the previous games. I got a good amount of weapons by the end, and really only had to use my pistol and shotgun. No upgrades or changes to them, just a plain old normal pistol and shotgun. And I had a flamethrower, a grenade launcher, and alternate ammo for my pistol, but I barely used them because the shotgun mows these enemies down. It never felt bad to use them. Again, all the guns felt good, but it did feel pretty boring by the end since I knew I could rely on them at all times. Spoilers, by the way, if you care about the first boss fight in the game, but the first fight with Jack is fucking awesome. There's a car that you can find keys for and jump into in order to drive and run him over with. But if you mess that up and he catches you trying to get in, he'll start to get in the car and he'll actually start driving in order to kill you. That's awesome. That's unique. That's memorable. And then later on, there's another cool fight where you're again in a room with Jack and have to run around and shoot him like normal. But you also have a body bag that can help you stagger him if you manage to kick them into him. And after doing this for a while, Jack gets annoyed and rips off this chain wall and grabs these scissor chainsaw things and starts chasing you. But in doing so, he also reveals a chainsaw that you can grab and start wailing away at him with. And again, that's not only memorable, but that's also awesome. It's so cool. It made some of the bosses feel exciting to get to and sometimes kind of look forward to. Even if I'm fucking terrified. Yeah, this game is insanely scary, at least to me. It's not even the scares or the enemies, it's the tension. Ah! Oh, I don't like it. Oh my god. And a little bit of the scares, I guess. Resident Evil 7 does a really good job of getting you on edge and making you feel like you're never really safe. Even in environments where I know I killed everything and cleared it all out, the subtle sounds the house would make would remind me that people are still around. And the goo that grows on the walls throughout the game reminds me that the house is actively rotting and is, in a way, almost alive. All of this keeps you on your toes at all times. I mean, look at this and tell me the tension isn't real. What the fuck? Oh, I'm sorry. What's in there? Chem fluid and shotgun shells. I don't even need those. I don't have a shotgun. I should have a shotgun by now. Huh? Is that what it's telling me? I don't want to waste my gas. Oh my god! Fuck off! Fuck off! Fuck off! Holy shit! Another neat thing is that the enemies will begin to show up in the earlier sections of the game later on in the story, making you never really know if you're as safe as you thought you'd be going back to an old area just to grab a quick item you missed. Especially if you play this game with headphones. Oh my god, this game's sound design is insanely good! I love the little sounds your gun makes when you're running low on ammo, or how it sounds just to hear the house settling. It's fantastic. Now, I'm gonna be honest, at first I purposely didn't wear headphones because I was just so scared to play the game alone at night already, and putting on headphones would seem like the last straw for me. But for the sake of this video, 3 hours into the game, I started wearing headphones, and they really made a difference. I thought I was scared before, but god damn, this is terrifying! So maybe like a like and subscribe for me because I was so brave. Please like and subscribe, thank you! One negative I feel like I should mention about this game is the lack of enemy variety. Other than the Baker family, a lot of the time you're just fighting the same types of enemy. Here you'll see a goopy zombie with a sword, or maybe a goopy zombie that crawls, and that's it. Oh yeah, and those flies in that one section, I absolutely hated that section. It was so annoying. And yeah, they throw bigger guys at you towards the end, but they don't really show up often or have any interesting design elements that make them memorable. All these guys actually aren't very interesting to look at. What you see is what you get. Goopy things that walk towards you slowly and are pretty easy to kill. Don't get me wrong, I was still super scared of them and hated seeing them around any corner, but that's just because I'm a little guy, and not because I'm genuinely freaked out. I'm not asking for insane enemies either, with mechanics that I have to learn to best them, but just some more variety in design or variants that would make me have to switch up my ammo or something in the middle of a battle. Something that I think this game does better than the other games is the mystery of it all. Except for the twist. I called that shit from the beginning. I don't want to say what it was, obviously, but just trust me, I did, okay? And I'm not very good at predicting anything. Everything around that twist, though, was really, really good. What did Mia lie about at the beginning of the game? What is going on with the Baker family? What is all this goop? How is Ethan able to heal himself so well with just some staples and water? Why didn't you flush the toilet again? I tell you every day. Just flush it. You just press a little button, whoosh, it's gone. So hard about that. There are more questions that I don't want to bring up because the story is really that interesting to me. In fact, I think it might be the best story in the series so far, from what I've played. Yeah, it doesn't have the high-octane action or fun set pieces and fun dialogue like Resident Evil 4, but the actual story you follow really did have me thinking the entire time. So because of that, I don't want to go further into the story or anything like that. I really just want to recommend this game to people to check it out rather than just spoil it all, even though the game has been out for a really long time. I will say though that it's a story that's been stuck in my head for a while, and I don't see myself forgetting about it anytime soon. I honestly want to just hop right into the sequel, Resident Evil 8, that much faster. But I'll have to save that video for another day. With all that being said, in conclusion, Resident Evil 7 just might be the best in the series. In certain places. From what I've played. Which isn't a lot. Is it my favorite Resident Evil? No. I still think Resident Evil 4 is my favorite, especially on harder difficulties, and Resident Evil 2 is just very replayable to me, and I think it's just slightly better made than 7 in quality of life features and gameplay, which is funny because Resident Evil 2 Remake came out after Resident Evil 7, and so did Resident Evil 4 Remake, which both those games took what worked from 7 and improved upon them, and now the remakes of the older games make the new game look older than it really is. I don't know, it's weird. But I still really like this game. Hell, I think I love this game. It's got a good story, good characters, good locations, and good scares. It's just really interesting to play this game after having played all the remakes and see where they all kinda started. Because really, this game is the one that revitalized the series and gave life to the remakes and sequels. And it's really cool to see what mechanics the remakes saw worked and didn't work in the sequel, and made better in the remakes, which came after the original sequel. That made sense, right? Anyway, if you want to see more from me, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you like this kind of stuff. I really have a great time making these videos and recording them and, you know, doing all this. Listen, I had a long break between this video and my last video, and I don't know how to end this one. I've been in a slump. Whatever. I'm back. I'm going to try to be more frequent. I love you. Thank you guys so much for 700 subscribers. That's amazing. Yeah. Until next time. Bye. What the fuck, guys? Fuck off! Fuck off! What? What do I do? Do something! We're having a good day! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.